Hi everybody, welcome to this full 18-hole playthrough for Pebble Beach course, brand new in the game, ready for the Pebble Beach 18-hole cup. Pro and expert division, that is from middle tee. Please remember to hit thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Share this video to your friends in the game if they don't know about us here on BK Golf Clash. I'll be massively grateful. Timestamps in the video description down below. Various wind angles shown here. You will need to tweak according to the wind directions you will face during the tournament, and of course to your club's ball and play style. If you want to check out some master content, head over to Golf Clash Tommy on YouTube. He has some third tee content for you there as well. Timestamps in the video description down below. Remember to leave me a comment, let me know what you think of Pebble Beach, and good luck in the Pebble Beach 18-hole cup. Here we go. Now, on this par 4, I would recommend to play with the Apocalypse. You don't have to have Apocalypse level 8. Apocalypse 4 or even 3 would be fine. You may need a higher power ball, though. I'm starting at +0, and I'm going 5.8 topspin and 3 bars side spin to the right. I would recommend a Katana here or a Kingmaker because you need the spin to swing round the curve in the fairway. The adjustment on the drive, in all wind angles, I would play max +10, and my aim here is to get to approximately mid-distance with our Thorn for an eagle approach. Very good chance here. I'm going with approximately 2 balls of curl to the right. That might need to vary depending on the amount of crosswind or the direction of crosswind. Minor great left isn't going to be a problem, not with APOC 8 anyway. We go along the fairway very, very nicely. Don't over curl this shot. You can hit the tree on the left. Drive distance, you're looking for around 340 to 350. Now with the second shot, I'm estimating my club distance here. There's the min line and I find the max line. And I like to set up here with the white ring touching the rough on the left and the top of the fringe on there at the top of the white ring touching the beginning of the fringe. Then I apply spin to get the ball guide going to the hole. In headwind, it would be going about 1 green square through the hole. Tailwind, you would leave it slightly short. Now, as it's crosswind, I'm playing this one 15% elevation, but without level crosswind, I would probably reduce this down to 10% elevation. Here, I estimate to be mid-distance, so I'm playing mid +15, pulling over the bullseye, centering the ball and hitting perfect. And this is, in all wind angles, going to be a very good opportunity to get an eagle here on this par 4. There you can see it tracks nicely, very smooth green for your eagle. A fairly straight par 5 here, but you will need really to hit perfect, especially if you have a low accuracy club. I'm using a Titan, I would recommend that, or a Kingmaker, and I am at max rest position with this Titan ball. I'm going to go with 5.8 topspin. Extra mile 8 would be good here as well. If you don't have APOC, you don't really need any curl at all. So at the max rest position with the Titan, going to go with my topspin, and then I'm adjusting max +10. Now it's up to you how much you want to push this drive. In the end, I decide to go with a little bit of overpower. You could set up with the quarterback, then do a club swap and go with full overpower for a slow needle. Obviously, you will need a little bit more overpower if you don't have tailwind. Now with the tailwind and minimal OP, I get this one down very nicely, which leaves me in sniper range. You can push it further than this and get up to max distance with your Grizzly for a long iron approach if you wish, but in any crosswind or headwind, you are needing to be playing with the sniper. So with the second shot, I'm finding the minimum distance line and I push up 10 rings from min, and experience tells me that's going to be around 25% of my club distance. So then I'm applying spin to get the ball guide, in this instance 1 green square short of the hole as we've got tailwind. Crosswind, I would be aiming with the tip of the ball guide to the pin. Headwind, of course, you need that ball guide through the hole slightly. A mistake I make here is I just need to aim the ball guide at the pin a little bit better. I thought there was a little bit more crosswind than there was, so I end up missing a fraction left, but the actual length of this shot is perfect. So true club distance, 10% elevation, just to take the wind push into account, even though the ground is fairly flat. So I played this one 25% slider, small tweak there, very nice chance for an albatross on this par 5. This short par 4 is a must eagle. You will need a side spin 3 ball, preferably a Kingmaker, especially if there is any headwind. I'm setting up with the Thor's hammer to give me an idea of the length of the ball guide. I'm going with 1.5 topspin, 3 bars side spin to the left, If you don't have a side spin 3 ball available and, for example, want to play with a power 5 ball, or rather a power 10 ball, like a berserker, then you will need more curl. But Kingmaker is preferred. Then I switch, of course, to APOC, and then I'm going max plus 10, pushing the rings, otherwise the trees might well be in the way. Takes me into overpower in this headwind angle, so I'm going to add that on. 2 rings of overpower. And then we're going with around 0.4 ball curl to the left. Obviously the top spin will vary, as will the curl, depending on the wind angle. And any tailwind you could drop down to a power 2 or power 4 ball, quasar, katana, loads of ways to reach the green, but you will need to be on the green and putting, or in my case, a very simple wedge for your eagle. Very easy par 4 to eagle. You are going to see some hole-in-ones on this one without a doubt. I'm going with the Thor's hammer to get the ball guide correct with the amount of topspin, because it's better than an APOC in most cases. So I'm going 6 topspin. As you can see, they're going with some side spin to the left as well, swapping to APOC. Extra mile 8 plus will be fine here as well. Even in headwind, I would recommend going with a Kingmaker. Any crosswind or tailwind, you could drop down to a katana, titan, probably even a quasar if you have a club with a load of topspin. Max plus 10 here. Now, as we have headwind, I go with circle drop, or rather just before circle drop, overpower. You won't need any overpower at all in crosswind or tailwind. I'm just making sure I'm going to reach nicely here. We're bouncing safely on the fairway. Max plus 10 is the adjust. Topspin takes us onto the green. Get a zoom in, just missing right, coming in a slightly bit hot, but a very, very easy eagle putt there on this par 4. On this par 3, I think the best option is going to be the rough bump. You can bounce on the slope if you don't fancy the rough bump, but in terms of dialing in the hole-in-one, then the rough bump is the way forward. In headwind, you will need a low power ball to be able to play with sniper. Otherwise, you're going to have to go high power ball with your long iron. Obviously, in crosswind or tailwind, then you will be fine with the grizzly and a kind of mid power ball. Here I'm showing you a headwind example with the sniper, yellow ring touching the rough at the P2 min line with a navigator. Obviously an expert, you would need a higher wind resistance ball. And then I'm applying spin to get the ball guide just through the hole. Unfortunately, needed to offset this one a little bit, but the adjustment is minimum distance, 10% elevation. There's plenty of rough to aim at, so I don't think it's too risky. But here just needed a small offset to the left to drop that one in this wind angle for the hole-in-one. Now on this par 5, it's all about getting a decent spot with your drive to be able to attack the pin. Now I'm going with a Titan. Kingmaker would be better to get yourself more around to the left-hand corner of that fairway. But I would go with APOC. Thor's hammer's fine, extra mile is fine. You want to play with 6 topspin and 2 bars or 3 bars of left spin, whatever you can. Obviously, if you're only going with the side spin, with 2 bars of side spin, then you can play with some left curl. Side spin 3, or rather side spin 6 ball with 3 bars, you can not need as much curl, if any. Mid wall to the left, max plus 10 is the adjustment. Sniper is fine for your second shot. This one is rolling along nicely. Obviously, in headwind, I would set up with a quarterback, do a club switch, and then go with full overpower with a slow needle. But 380, 390 is fine. Now, here you can see with the sniper, I'm going to play with all the right spin I have available with my Titan, which is 2 bars, a couple of bars of backspin as well, and I'm just finding where I am in club distance. There's the min line, so I'm in between min and mid, so actually we don't need to worry about pushing the drive too much, especially in headwind. You are still going to reach with your sniper. You may have a mid-distance shot instead in headwind. But you can see here I'm leaving the ball guide short of pin because there is a tailwind angle here. Crosswind, I would be having the tip of the ball guide level with the pin. Headwind, having 1 to 2 green squares through the hole. I reckon I'm about 20% of my club distance here, so I play this one 20% slider, 0 elevation. Unfortunately though, trying to rush the shot, I hit a great left. However, looking at the miss here, the speed is good. I do believe a perfect ball would have been very close, if not in, on this par 5. This is a very short par 3 indeed. Look, we can play with the thorn in any form of tailwind or crosswind here. So this is no move target with the Thorn and Titan, or a Kingmaker of course. I'm then adding spin, going with 2 bars of left spin and about 1.5 bars of backspin. You can see there the tip of the ball guide there is level with the right edge of the cup. Now in headwind, just in case there isn't room to adjust, I would suggest you go with a minimum distance long iron shot. But here in this crosswind angle, NMT, as I advised earlier in the video, adjustment here is max plus 40. This is quite a downhill hole, even though it's short. A little bit more care needed when you're dialing this one in certain wind angles, but max plus 40, NMT with the Thorn comes in very nicely, and we're dropping it for the hole-in-one on this par 3. Good luck. Now with this par 4, obviously in a decent wind angle, we want to get over the rough and the bushes to that piece of fairway. You can see there is a bit of a slope in play to keep the ball over there, so I would recommend you try and bounce over if you can, but in direct headwind, no chance, even though you may need to with a premium ball of course. But keeping it free to play, what I would do in headwind is go from the minimum distance line with the rock or the quarterback, go with between 3.5 and 4 bars of top spin, and you can see there I'm using 2 bars of side spin to the left. Now in direct headwind, I would adjust this 1-to-1 if you are using quarterback or the rock. Obviously different driver, I would play that a different adjustment if you haven't got that accuracy. And if you have cross headwind, you will need less adjust than that. But in direct headwind, 1-to-1 is working out very nicely. So if you don't fancy going over the rough to the next piece of fairway, just lay up with the QB or the rock. That will leave you an approach with a lot of elevation required. Now I'm finding the min line of the sniper and then pushing up some rings there, counting my rings, or you can estimate distance yourself. You will need a decent amount of backspin here. If you haven't got the sniper, then I would suggest the Guardian. Leaving the ball guide about a green square to the left of the hole to accommodate the wind angle push. Now, as a general rule, I would play this one true club distance, 50% elevation. I know it sounds a lot, but with the high amount of backspin that we're using and also the elevation, you can see it massively downhill just from that view. You will need a lot. So true club distance, 50% elevation. Obviously, if you can get over to the next piece of fairway, you will have a much shorter approach. So it may well be a hole that benefits the aggressive drive if you get the wind for it. Now on this par 4, goes without saying, it will be very easy to reach in tailwind. If you get a decent wind angle, you can go there with top spin, get yourself to green. Might need a power 5 ball if you've got low level clubs. But crosswind you can still have a pretty good go, and in fact headwind. So what I'm showing you here is a crosswind example. Going with the APOC at the top of plus 0 yards, red ring by the rough with APOC 8, but this will work with Thor's hammer, different ring references, but also extra mile. 6 top spin, and we're seeing there we're going with 1 bar of right spin, aiming down the fairway, adjust mid plus 10. Now in the video I stupidly went max numbers, even though I was not at max distance club. That is my error. Go mid plus 10. You will see I bounce a little bit close to the rough here. Full overpower, slow needle makes it nice and easy to hit perfect. If you adjust mid plus 10, you won't be so close to the rough, and you will still of course be in a good point in the fairway. And that's going to set us up for a Thorn approach. There's a bit of elevation to deal with, you can see it there on that camera view. I'm finding the min line, pushing up rings from min. In the end I push up 15 rings from min, I believe, in this example, if I remember correctly. But it's 1% slider per ring from min. So if you're pushing up 10 rings, 10% slider. If you're pushing up 20 rings, 20% slider. Little bit of top spin and also some side spin to the left. I'm playing with left spin so that I can set up further away from the rough and the sand. Ball guide level with the pin in crosswind, short of hole in tailwind, and a little bit through the hole in headwind. 15% elevation. Obviously if you have headwind off the drive, off the tee, you may be near a mid distance, and if you got tailwind you're probably going to have an end bringer or a putt for your eagle on this par 4. On this par 4 we have a cross headwind in this example. I'm going to use a Kingmaker. course, you can use different balls here. Fairly straight par 4. We just want to get down as far as we can with the wind angle that we have. 5.8 top spin, 2 bars of side spin to the left. I would recommend you go with a Kingmaker or a Titan here. Now I'm backing up a little bit with my Apocalypse, going from +4 to give myself room to adjust here so that I'm not pulling all the way into overpower all the time. Obviously extra mile, Thor's Hammer, or Big Topper if you've got a newer account is fine. The adjustment is maximum distance, 10% elevation. Now I'm going full overpower here. If you want to have a less shaky needle, then you can of course use a higher power ball. Minor grates either side, going to be fine with an accurate driver. Obviously if you've got tailwind, you're going to get very close, if not on the green, or end up with a wedge or a putt. But most cases in crosswind or with any headwind, you're going to leave yourself a thorn or any short iron, of course. Now I find the minimum distance line, then I'm pushing up rings from min to a point where I'm not going to need a lot of spin. Try and play this close to no spin or one top spin, so that you're not messing around too much with the spin. In the end here I pushed up I think about 20 rings, but I'm playing true club distance. Now in the video I play with 15% elevation. It's not enough in crosswind, I needed more. So in this wind angle particularly I would go 25% elevation, just because the crosswind is going to affect the path of the ball a bit more. Obviously tailwind, headwind you could probably reduce to 20 or 15, leave the ball guide long or short, but it's 1% slider per ring. Decent chance for an eagle though if you can get to short iron, if not a very easy wedge or putt in a good wind angle. Fairly short par 4 here, a little bit of a dog leg at the end, but we're going to get ourselves to wedge range even in this headwind angle. Starting with the quarterback in this wind angle, top of +10, ball guide pointing down the middle of the fairway. Then I switch to my Apocalypse and then bring a bag. It doesn't have to be Apocalypse, could be Extra Mile or Thor's Hammer, going with 5.8 top spin. So there you see the ball guide is still aiming down the fairway, and we're going to adjust maximum distance, 0 elevation. Now because we have headwind, which is why I do the club swap and not adjust into overpower, I'm going to go full overpower. It is a slow needle. If you do not have any headwind, you have a nice tailwind angle, you could set up at max position with the Kingmaker or a Titan, adjust, and then just still take yourself down the fairway nicely. We're going to get to the point that we want, so the overpower is only needed really to get rid of the headwind element. Skirting past the bunker, a few clicks of left curl might have gone very beneficial there, just to take the bunker out of the equation. But you can see here with this headwind off the tee, we've got pretty much straight headwind wedge, and we're in end bringer range here. If for some reason you are short and you don't want to push the drive, you will have a rings from min thorn. But this one we're playing end bringer school. You could see I was just before the pin at max distance here, so in the end I play this max +25, no spin method. If you don't know the end bringer method, I have a quick fire tutorial. You can learn the whole thing in about 5 or 6 minutes on the channel homepage. Check out the Academy tutorial videos. Lots of methods there, including rings from min, designed to help you drop more shots. So nice easy hole here. It's going to be a wedge pretty much in all wind angles for your eagle. Par 3 here, and once again with these par 3s, so often in the game the rough bump is the best chance to drop for the hole-in-one, because you take out a load of flight time with the ball in the air. So we're going with the sniper here. We have tailwind and we're applying just before 2 backspin and approximately 1 bar side spin to the left. I needed more side spin though, unfortunately. Now the spin will vary, but the ring reference I'm using is having the right edge of the yellow ring touching the rough at the top of +7 with sniper 10, will be top of +9 with sniper 9. So this rough bump is going to be the way forward in any tailwind and crosswind. You would need a higher power ball if you had cross headwind. If you have direct headwind, I would play with a low power ball and go from the minimum distance line with the quarterback if you want to go for that rough bump. Max +10 is the adjustment. Needed a bit of an offset there. The speed is good, just need to aim a little bit to the left in this wind angle. A nice straightforward and short par 4, or fairly short, at least in tailwind it plays very short. I'm going to go with a Titan here. I want a bit of extra wind push in tailwind, and I don't want to waste a Kingmaker unless I really need to. I use a Thor's Hammer just to see how much distance I'm going to get with full overpower. It's going to trickle to the fringe very nicely, and then I swap back to the extra mile. The APOC bag. You don't need to do that with the Thor's Hammer. It's just what I did, having a first look at this hole. So I'm going with 2 right spin, and then you could see plenty of top spin there. You don't want to overdo the top spin though, especially in tailwind. Just max plus 10. And then I'm going full overpower with a slow needle. Nice and easy to hit perfect. Obviously in headwind it's going to be a bit difficult to get close to the green, as close as I get here, but you will still have a decent chance for an eagle. You will probably get to wedge range, or at very worst have a rings from min thorn approach. You will probably see some hole-in-ones on this par 4. We are on the green and we are putting for an easy eagle. Slightly tricky par 5 here, and we have a little bit of a nasty wind angle, but we're going to be fine on the drive. I would recommend you play with the Apocalypse. Even in a low level, you will need curl to get to a decent position on this fairway in order to attack for the Albatross. So it is going to be difficult to get that, and I'll explain why later in the video. So I'm aiming a couple of rings away from the rough, so kind of in the middle of that fairway, in between the 2 bunkers, and just nicely in to protect from a great right or anything like that, or a misadjust. We're going mid plus 10 on this one. Like I said, Apocalypse and a ball with 3 bars of side spin is needed. Now we are going to go with a decent amount of right curl, and that's why we need the Apocalypse there. Look at the tee, it's aligned with that little recess in the adjustment ring to the right, and then I'm going with a circle drop overpower, or circle, or just before the circle drops as overpower, depending how much headwind there is. We need to get over there nicely and roll out to a drive distance of around 340 yards. Now, the issue with the second shot, it's all about getting the speed of the ball right. And you can see here I'm using the left spin that I've got with my katana to get rid of the rough and the bunker. Now, tournament players going for the Albatross, there is another shot here you can play, and that is a secondary bounce rough bump. So you apply top spin, get the second bounce in the rough, and then hopefully roll out to the Albatross there, with the second bounce being in between the bunker and the fairway. But the more general play here, you could see when I was setting up that shot, the ball guide kind of glitches around a little bit, so you want to try and mix the spins and your landing point to get a decent, consistent thing without overshooting the green or the pin too much. True club distance, 10% elevation. In the end, I went with mid here. You can see the speed is pretty good, just needed a small offset. Short and fairly simple par 4, but it is still easy to go in the rough either side due to the narrow fairway. So I'm going with a Kingmaker and setting up with a Thor's Hammer, 6 top spin and 3 right spin. The reason I'm using a Thor's Hammer is it gives me the best ball guide. You don't have to use it though, but it just helped me in having a look at this hole. Then I switched to APOC, which will be recommended in headwind, and I'm going max plus 10 on the adjustment here. Maximum distance, 10% elevation. You do need a ball with 3 right spin because the bounce and the ground will slope off to the left. What I should have done here was play within a wall right curl. I didn't do that, however, I was still fine. I made it to the fringe, but a little bit close to the rough for my liking. You can try with a bit more topspin, but be careful in case you overshoot the green. But the idea here is you roll to the fringe for an easy end bringer, or you're on the green for an easy eagle putt on this par 4. Now the key here on this par 4 is to get yourself into a nice position on the drive. Now I would recommend a side spin 3 ball. I'm going with a katana and APOC. You don't need an APOC though, extra mile will suffice. 1.5 top spin, 3 right spin, setting up at max rest with my katana. That's plus 11 with APOC level 5 and above. And then we're going to just aim as shown. Ball guide is going to point towards that tree in the corner of the fairway. Adjust max plus 10. Now, we need a little bit of right curl, not too much though, and the key here is not to go too heavy on the top spin, otherwise you will roll long into the rough. So mid-wall curl to the right, and this is going to leave you a thorn rings from min approach. You see, it bounces nicely, we're not threatening the rough on the right, rolling underneath the tree branches there towards the top left corner of the fairway, around 360 yards. Second shot, find the min line. If you've got any tailwind, you will need to push up between 3 and 5 rings, so you've got room to adjust. I push up 3 rings here. Obviously in headwind I would recommend you play from the absolute minimum distance line because it gives you a nice starting point and a good reference for your adjustment. In the video I play this one rings from min with 0 elevation. However, this one is under-adjusted, so either I offset the ball guide to the right edge of the cup to compensate, or I play with 5% elevation. Whichever tweak you want to do really. But rings from min, it's 1% per ring. So if you push up 5 rings, you play 5% slider, and so on. Like I said, in any head window, I would play from the minimum distance line, spins so that you have the ball guide just going through the hole in headwind. So a small tweak there, but a very good chance with the thorn to grab an eagle on this par 4 following a successful draw. Hole in one here for you on this par 3, and it is a rough bump time for the best chance now. We're playing with the Grizzly in tailwind and crosswind. Minor headwind you should be okay. Direct headwind you may want to play low power ball sniper, or you go with Goliath. Red ring touching the sand on the left, a +1 there with Grizzly level 9, and then I'm adding spins as needed to be in as kind of a minor funnel. Not really a funnel, it's more of a slope down to the pin. Now the reason I'm having the ball guide 1 green square below the pin is because that tailwind is going to push me on a little bit, so make sure you compensate for that. If it's more crosswind then you wouldn't need to do that. If you had minor headwind I'd leave the ball guide a little bit high. Max +0 is the adjustment here. Centre the ball and hit perfect. This is a very safe rough bump in my opinion. There's a little bit of room for error, but you see we catch the slope really nicely and fall beautifully for the hole in. On this par 5 I play NMT with the Katana, which is of course a power 4 ball. You could play with a power 6 ball if you wanted, but Katana is absolutely fine. APOC I'm going with because I'm going to use a little bit of curl. In fact, I use too much on the drive here, so I will give you an amendment to that. 5.8 top spin, 3 bars side spin to the left. If you have a driver without much curl available, always use a ball with 3 bars of side spin. You could drop down to a Titan though, potentially, if you have APOC. Max +10. Now, I went with a ball and a half of left curl. It is too much. I'm okay, but the great right helped me here, so I would reduce down to probably 1 ball of curl to the left. I overestimated how much I needed, and as you can see, I park up at a decent point on the fairway, but that's where I want to be with a perfect rather than a great right, because I want a clear line to the pin, and you can see I've got that exactly here, so a little bit less curl on the drive with a perfect will get you to the same point. Now we are using our long iron here, which is nice, and even with some headwind I'm going to be at mid-distance of my club. I estimate this to be mid-distance anyway. Obviously in tournament you would need to build in some reference checks with plus yards to get an accurate slider value and nail down that adjustment. But here I'm playing no spin, ball guide passing the left edge of the cup. In fact, I went over the left half. It needed a bit more offset, and going 1 green square beyond the cup because of the headwind. I play with 10% elevation. That is the general elevation that I would recommend on this approach. Centering the ball and hitting perfect. Just needed to offset a little bit more or adjust a little bit more. I like the speed though. We're just missing on the right hand side. Actually decent chance with a good drive on this par 5. Thanks very much for watching this video here on the channel. If it has helped you in any way, please consider sharing it amongst your friends and clanmates in the game. Join us also on Facebook. Head over there, search for BK Golf Clash and join our free group. Loads of members there sharing shots. Free guides are posted, as well as loads of other great Golf Clash resources. So check us out there. You can join in the discussion and also leave feedback on the game in general. Finally, if you wish to help support the channel and keep the content free for everybody, please consider becoming a Patreon member. The link is in the video description down below. Good luck, see you soon, bye for now.